What's up, everybody? I'm Harry Ruiz. That's Travis Rogers, and it's time for Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. On today's show, MLB released an official report on that super close Game 7 play at the plate in the World Series, and the answer might surprise you because according to the league, the Blue Jays weren't nearly as close to scoring as everyone thought. A Dodger superstar is about to take the mound again on the international stage. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is preparing for the WBC quarterfinals, and Japan is undefeated. But first, Team USA is moving on in the WBC, but they owe Italy and Vinny Pasquantino a massive thank you. Travis, the performance he delivered looked like something you'd expect from Shohei Ohtani, not an 11th-round pick.
Yeah, there's lucky, there's very lucky, and then there's what happened to Mark DeRosa because he dodged a bullet. We'll get into all of it on today's episode of Locked On Dodgers, brought to you by MLB The Show 26. Visit MLBTheShow/LockedOn and use the code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. You can pre-order right now. It's available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch, and it's rated E for everyone.
Weekdays, Travis sets the tone on 710 ESPN LA from 3 to 6, holding it down on the Travis and DeMarco show. For me, when I'm not on the call for USC football, this is where I lock in every weekday, talking Dodgers baseball with you. If this is your first time here, you're right where you're supposed to be. If you're an everydayer, you already know this show doesn't move without you. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of our content. But if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get our shows, another huge favor, a 5-star rating goes a long way. And don't forget, the Locked On Dodgers listener line is always live for you. Leave a voicemail or text us at 279-3LOCKED. That's 279-356-2533. Tomorrow, we'll be listening to a voicemail regarding Roki Sasaki. Pasquantino saves Team USA with an Ohtani-like night. This might be the most unexpected hero story of the World Baseball Classic so far. Team USA, a roster stacked with stars, was suddenly staring at one of the biggest embarrassments in WBC history. They had just lost to Italy. They were suddenly in danger of being eliminated in pool play, and then Italy bailed them out. One Wednesday night, Italy absolutely demolished Mexico 9-1, and the reason was a performance that honestly felt like something straight out of a baseball movie. Vinny Pasquantino hit 3 home runs in a single game. Nobody had ever done that in the World Baseball Classic, Travis, not even Shohei Ohtani. And by the time that Italy got to 5 runs, it was like, okay, all USA fans, all Team USA fans could take a deep breath and be like, okay, we're good. How did it get to this?
Yeah. Well, but the only thing I would say, Harry, is that it's something Shohei Ohtani hasn't done yet. Let's wait and see. He's got some more baseball to play, and never count him out. That's for sure. No, look, this is what makes baseball so incredibly fun. This is what makes it, my favorite sport. This is what makes it romantic for a lot of people. You have no idea who the guy is going to be on any given night. Sometimes it is Shohei Ohtani. Sometimes it is the best player in the world. Sometimes it is the biggest stars. And then sometimes it's a guy like Vinny Pasquantino who just has one of the great nights of his life and just puts his team on his back, puts them through, knocks out the team, in this case, Mexico, sends them packing. And Vinny Pasquantino's been in the major leagues and everything else, but this is a moment that you will remember forever. This is a moment where you get to play for country, you get to play in a different format, and it's just terrific. And they come out of nowhere. Sometimes we saw one with our own 2 eyes not that long ago where Miguel Rojas, who, if you were listing the guys most likely to hit a home run to save your season, Miguel Rojas might be the last guy you take in a draft there, only he was the guy that did it. And last night, Vinny Pasquantino was the guy that did it for Italy. And more importantly, Harry, Vinny Pasquantino was the guy that did it for the United States of America. Even though he's playing for Italy, it put the Americans through to the next round, and they got incredibly fortunate.
Richmond, Virginia native, Old Dominion grad out there in Norfolk, 11th round pick, Vinny Pasquantino. But somebody who's a high draft pick that also deserves a lot of praise and a big shout out for what he did was Aaron Nola. 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Yes, he had traffic every single inning, but he was able to get out of trouble every single time. And pitching is a big aspect of the game, and he was able to just not allow Mexico to get into that comfort zone that I was hoping, okay, hopefully Mexico does the same thing. My beloved Mexican team, like when they played the U.S., they were losing and getting whooped by Paul Skeens. The moment he got out of the game, they got their mojo back. Right here, absolutely nothing. And it was a great combo right there. Pasquantino, Nola, they get the win. They're able to help Team USA make it to the next round. And it's something very interesting that we see at times at with other tournaments like soccer or even the Olympics, where guys that aren't born in the country help the team. But baseball being America's pastime, where it's like America, Latin America, those are the biggest regions in the world that practice this sport. Aranola, a guy from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, but that he has a heritage in Italy. Same thing with Pasquantino, Richmond, Virginia, heritage in Italy. They're able to represent the U.S. And this is a cool thing too, Travis, because we've seen it with Team USA where, okay, more and more stars start playing the tournament. It's the same case with other countries where it's like, well, I had my great-great-grandparent that was Italian, so I'm going to play for Italy. Yeah, sure, whatever. You're going to help the tournament get better. And there it is. Italy, who would never sniff getting even this close to the quarterfinals, ends up as one of the undefeated teams in the tournament. That's cool. And they get through. Mexico booted. U.S. stays in with our guys, Will Smith and Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, it's kind of almost like an American B team. And I don't mean that in a bad, like a worse team. I just mean that in like Team USA has the stars. The Team Italy has major league players. Maybe they're not, the biggest names, but those guys are major leaguers. And anybody that watches baseball understands that anyone can win any one of these games if we're all kind of playing in the same league. And Italy's team is filled with big leaguers. They're just not. Paul Skeens and Aaron Nola aren't the same. Paul Skeens just goes out there and blows guys away. But Aaron Nola, to your point, Harry, he's out there. He's pitched in the big leagues for a long time and had a great deal of success. And having a few guys on base isn't going to freak him out. That's nothing that he's not familiar with. He knows what to do. He knows how to work his way out of a worrisome situation. That this is a major league player that performed like a major league player in a big time tournament. So, you see Italy and you don't think of them in the way that you think about the Japanese team or the Dominicans or the Americans or maybe even the Venezuelans or the Puerto Ricans, but the Italians have a bunch of major league players and that they won 4 games in a row. I mean, think about it. Even in this season like, a major league season, even the Rockies are going to put together a little winning streak here and there. They're major leaguers. It's going to happen. The White Sox are going to win 2 or 3 or 4 games in a row at some point. It happens, and it's happening for Italy right now. And by the way, Team Italy is probably better than the Rockies and the White Sox. They've got more good players at this particular point. So it's a surprise. Don't get me wrong that they were the only team to go through that pool without a loss. But when you look at the roster and go, oh, that guy pitches in the big leagues and that guy plays shortstop in the big leagues, it's not as shocking as it might look on first glance.
And now we're going to get USA versus Canada in baseball in the quarterfinals of the WBC, just a couple of weeks after we had USA Canada in the hockey Olympics, both in the women's and the men's side. So this rivalry continues now with baseball. But one last thing about Pasquantino, I ran across this stat that I found like it was, what is it real? And I went back and yeah, it's real. Did you know that Shohei Ohtani's 2 hardest pitches he has ever thrown in official baseball games have gone against Pasquantino? One in the 2023 World Baseball Classic, Italy, Japan out at the Tokyo Dome, and the other one last year, Dodgers versus Royals in Kansas City. I was like, really? Are you serious? This is the guy that Shohei's like, okay, man, I better throw heat because he got it.
I don't think it has anything to do with Pasquantino. I think it's just coincidence more than anything else. I didn't know about the one in the WBC, but for whatever reason, it did stick in my head that Pasquantino was the guy when I think Shohei hit a 102 or whatever it was against the Royals when he was coming back last year. And it was like, whoa, because it was still relatively early in his rehab and coming back and starting to pitch again. And it was one of those numbers that made you go, wait, what did he just do right there? I don't think Shohei sees Pasquantino and thinks, okay, I gotta gas him up right here. I think it's probably more coincidence than anything else, but it's kind of a cool coincidence.
So before the World Series, Pasquantino was actually doing content for Major League Baseball, and he asked Shohei Ohtani in the media scrum, he's like, hey, man, why you got to throw 100 your hardest pitches at me? And then Will translated for him, and Shohei replied with, hey, man, you're a really good player. It was like, hey, I mean, that right there, Pasquantino better clip it and have it like playing in video frames all around his house to be, or the clubhouse in Kansas City, and be like, yo, Shohei said that about me. But look, the guy who did something even Ohtani hasn't done yet in WBC also happens to be the guy who has faced Ohtani throwing his absolute hardest. And baseball has a way of producing heroes you never expect. And right now, Team USA is probably thrilled that one of them showed up wearing an Italy jersey against Mexico.
Well, I really do think that the Americans are probably going to win this tournament now. That to come to see your baseball life flash before your eyes the way that it did against Italy, to know that your fate is no longer in your own hands and that you have to have somebody else kind of knock you into the next round, and the second life, the second chance that comes along with it, I think is going to give them a boost. I think you're going to see them come out with a renewed intensity. So I'm really interested to see how they respond now that they escaped the pool play and are back into the knockout round.
Coming up on Locked On Dodgers, more World Baseball Classic, because one of the biggest stars is about to take the mound again, repping the Dodgers some way, somehow. Japan hasn't lost a game yet, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto is ready to pitch in the quarterfinals. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient, sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve, while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person, and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment. You've been thinking about joining the Everydayer Club? Now is the time. Again, you get ad-free shows and access to our group chat on Discord. And if you're signed up before the NCAA tournament tips off, you can get into our Everydayer Club bracket pool on Discord for a chance to win Locked On merch. It'll be a lot of fun. Right now, you can use the code MARCH to get your first month free. Head to lockedondodgers.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes, use the code MARCH, and get your first month free. Yamamoto Yoshi takes the WBC spotlight. If you're a Dodgers fan watching the World Baseball Classic, this next pitching appearance you're waiting for is obvious. Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Team Japan are heading into the quarterfinals, and that game will be going down Saturday versus Venezuela. It's actually the final game of the quarterfinals round. It's Saturday. It's 6 p.m. Pacific time. This is interesting, Travis, because we know that the WBC employs the pitching limits right here. 80 pitches in the quarterfinal, 95 pitches in the semifinals and the championship game. But if you throw over 49 pitches in a game, you're not allowed to pitch until 4 days later. And if that's the case, this is it for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. So after seeing him in the World Series, I got a feeling that he's going to raise his hand and be like, yo, can I pitch 49 and then wait to see if I can play in the final one on Tuesday? What do you think?
I think anybody that's ever had a son go through Little League Baseball knows exactly what these managers of these teams are dealing with right now, that these pitch counts and the days between each amount, you throw X amount of pitches, you got to be off this day. If you stay below this number, you can pitch more soon than you can if you go above this number. It's a part of the strategy. It is not just your normal, ride a guy until you don't think he's going to get anybody out anymore and then ask him how he feels a couple of days later. It's not that. There are hard and fast rules in place. And sometimes you can get a little cute, and sometimes your cuteness can put your team in a lot of trouble. That the idea of, well, I will stop him right before he goes over the limit because I want to save him the next day, and then the game blows up. Sometimes you'll let the guy go, and all of a sudden your team goes off, and what was a 2-run lead, now you have an 8-run lead, and you burned your guy for no reason. There's a lot of good luck or bad luck that goes into decisions like this. I also think it's really important that the player and the managers of these teams really are kind of on the same page here, because as important as this is, as fun as this is, and you and I have both been enjoying the WBC a great deal, this is not what he makes $300 million to do. He makes $300 million to pitch for the Dodgers, and mashing the gas right now or pitching twice in a relatively short window of time may or may not be a good idea. Now, with a guy like Yamamoto, I trust his judgment. He clearly has earned the right to kind of carve his own path, but it does get complicated because competitive juices start flowing. Everybody wants to win. Everybody probably feels pretty good, but the fact of the matter is we're only in the second week of March. There's a long way to go before we get to the real stuff as far as the major league season goes, and then of course the postseason. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, and I really do like those pitch limits can be kind of goofy, but they're there for a very good reason, and that's to protect these guys from saying, "Oh, I'll be fine. I'll go again. It just takes that option off the table."
And if somebody knows his body better than anybody, it's Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who in the World Series did stuff that we were like, how is that even possible? Coming back on 0 days rest, getting 3 wins in the World Series the way that he did, it was outstanding. But that was at the end of the season, having a full offseason to then ramp up to get ready for the start of the regular season. And he's one of the few guys that is 100% healthy heading into the opening day that for the boys in blue is in exactly 2 weeks at Chavez Ravine. And who would you want to be your opening day starter? I feel right now Yoshinobu Yamamoto over anybody else. He's the ace. He's the guy that has been killing it. He's a World Series 2025 MVP. You want to ride him. So yes, as a baseball fan, heck, I would love to see him pitch quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, and just do something ridiculous. As a Dodgers fan, I'm like, well, go out there, have fun in the quarterfinals, and enjoy the rest of the tournament from the dugout. You're good. You did your country well. And this is something, Travis, that Team Japan and Team Korea, they're the only two going with long travel like they are right here, because they're going from Japan all the way to Miami to play in the knockout stage. That's a long trip. You got Puerto Rico, a shorter trip, Dominican, Venezuela, they're staying in Miami, US, Italy, they're staying in Houston. Puerto Rico, they're and Canada, they're traveling to Houston from Puerto Rico. That's nothing compared to what Japan and Korea are going to do. So I wouldn't, even though I love the WBC and I've enjoyed it a lot, and I would love to see Yoshi pitch more, I think I'm also cool with just being like, you know what, out there, just pitch this game and enjoy the rest of the tournament, and hopefully Japan wins for you guys, and if not, US, Dominican, whoever's in it. But I'm focused right here in this one as a Dodger fan.
Yeah, there's two things going on here. Like, you kind of look at this as a Dodger fan from one perspective, and I think you described it pretty well, which is let's make sure that he's good to go for the regular season, and even more importantly, let's make sure he's good to go for the postseason, and in particular, coming off of what he did last year. I think questions might be too strong of a word, but something to keep an eye on about the workload that he had last year, and has it affected him through the early part of this year? And we'll kind of throw the WBC in there as well. And then there's the way I look at it as a talk show host too, right? That no matter what happens in this, it's going to be a topic. That if he does go for it, it's all right. Now we'll see what happens next, and whether it's true or not, or whether we can prove it or not. If he struggles in the early part of the season, if he's just maybe not quite as sharp as he was last year, and just kind of is maybe not that ace level guy. He's just really good. Is it because they pitched him too much in the WBC? Is it because they pitched him too much last year? That these are unanswerable questions, but these are the things that fuel the business of what it is that I do every single day. So there's always something to talk about. As a Dodger fan, as somebody that wants to see this team thrive, I hope they take very, very good care of him and err on the side of, you know what, I'm sure you'll be fine, but we're not going to use you anyway, because I want him to be better for the Dodgers than I want him to be in the WBC. But like you said at the beginning, he is kind of his own guy, and he knows his body better than anybody else. And if he wants to stop short of that limit and try to ramp it back up again towards the end of the tournament, I wouldn't be shocked.
We'll have the question for this answer more than likely Saturday by around 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. See how far he pitches. And that's a cool part. It's like, unlike in regular season or postseason baseball, right here, it's like you go over 49, that's it. You got to keep you can keep pitching up to 80, 85 pitches. You won't be able to pitch. It don't matter if it's 50, if it's 90, you won't be able to pitch until 4 days later, and that's already after the tournament is done. So quick recap of the World Baseball Classic. Pool A, Canada ends up first place, 3 wins, 1 loss. Puerto Rico, same record. Italy, the shocker of the tournament, undefeated, 4-0, 4 wins, no losses. USA comes in at second in Pool B, 3-1. Then you go to Pool C, Japan, 4 wins, no losses. Korea, 2-2. They make it through the pool stage on a three-way tie with Australia and Chinese Taipei. Pool D, Dominican Republic, 4 wins, no losses. Venezuela, 3-1. That game, Travis, I caught the replay. Man, wow. The intensity was incredible. You said the U.S., you feel that they're going to win, and I agree. I mean, the way that they got embarrassed by Italy and then being like, damn, you don't know the rules of the tournament. I feel that it's just going to light a fire under there, you know what? So I feel that they're just going to come out wanting to play with a vengeance and wanting to obliterate absolutely everybody. But the Dominican Republic, man, they look good. And then you look at Japan, and I'm like, okay, the ideal situation right here, bracket-wise, is the Dominican and the U.S. make it through on one side. Those games are being played Friday. And then Puerto Rico and Japan make it on the other side. And then you have those top 4. And it's like, whatever final we get, it's going to be great.
Yeah, that's I agree with you. I don't have a lot to add to that. That's exactly right. That's, I think, what we're all hoping to see. And coming into this tournament, those were the 4 teams, in particular, Dominicans, the Japanese, and the Americans are the 3 heavy favorites. And that's what we want to see. We want to see the best players play against the best players, and those are the teams with the best players. And like you said, and I said, that the Americans can wipe the sweat off their foreheads and take a deep breath and say, okay, we got real lucky. Let's go win this thing. I think I give them a narrow advantage at this point, but I can't wait to see it.
No doubt about it. All right. Coming up next here on Locked On Dodgers. Remember that insane play at the plate in Game 7 of the World Series involving Will Smith? MLB just released its official replay report, and it turns out the runner wasn't inches away from scoring. He was actually feet away.
This week's MLB Top 100 highlight is brought to you by MLB The Show 26, the latest from the beloved video game franchise. And each week, we're highlighting the stars of MLB's Top 100 players list, the elite names that you'll be controlling, building around, and going head-to-head with in MLB The Show. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the man on the Dodgers for a long time, the guy who won them the World Series. We're talking about none other than Will Smith. Think about how often we talk about these other guys and the big moments they have. And Will Smith can sometimes get lost in the sauce a little bit, but when you need that big knock, there is nobody like that. And of course, he is holding down that pitching staff night after night after night. And if you're a Dodger fan, this is the guy that you can build your franchise around. And in the show, you can do exactly that, right? And he's in the World Baseball Classic, and that's going on right now as well. And MLB The Show 26 lets you be the guys that we talk about every single day in the regular season, in the WBC, their clutch moments, breakout seasons, and of course, everything you are in control with. That is this week's MLB Top 100 highlight presented by MLB The Show, where you can play, manage, and build with your favorite players and teams. And if you love talking baseball, you'll love playing it even more. Visit MLBThe.show/lockedon and use the code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Pre-order right now, available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and Nintendo Switch, and it is rated E for everyone.
Don't forget to follow us on YouTube and across all social media at Locked On Dodgers. You can find Travis at Travis Rogers on X and Instagram. Meanwhile, I'm on X at Harry Ruiz, Instagram at Harry_Ruiz, and TikTok Harry Ruiz_. MLB confirms Dodgers were right in Game 7 drama. One of the most debated plays in recent World Series history has finally been answered, and the verdict is pretty definitive. Major League Baseball has confirmed that Will Smith was on the plate when he caught the ball during the dramatic Game 7 play against the Toronto Blue Jays. And Travis, when we had to see frame by frame, was the spike on the base or not, that right there was a moment that for months fans have been dissecting frame by frame. Did his foot come off the plate? Did he retouch in time? Was Kiner Falefa safe? Well, MLB reviewed every possible replay angle, and according to the league's official replay report, Smith's foot was touching the plate when the ball hit the glove. So that means that there was no drama, that there was nothing technically that had everybody, that should have had everybody scratching their head, because when it was happening, Travis, all of us Dodgers fans were like, holy crap, did we just lose the World Series? Did this just end right here on that play, which Miggy wrote? Incredible poise to get that ball to Will Smith. But it was like, did his spike come out? I'm honestly shocked that it's like, hey, he was actually a couple feet away before he actually got to home base when the out happened, when it was registered.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point that the part of that play that I think will get lost to time is the fact that Rojas kind of had to double pump, that he kind of had to reset, that I don't know if he caught his cleat in the turf but he was almost falling backwards away from home plate as he had to throw. He kind of had to double clutch it. And instead of panicking, he kind of reset and was able to make a good, strong throw and ultimately get the play, because when he double pumped, I think you, me, and every Dodger fan was watching like, dude, get rid of the ball. Like, what are you doing? And you could just tell that he wasn't quite set the way that he needed to be. Okay, if they say he was on the plate, then I'll take their word for it. Okay. Like, I mean, I looked at it 100 times and it was really hard to tell. If they're telling me he was on, I guess he was on. As it was actually unfolding and they went to go back and look at it, the first thought that went through my head, and I'm not unique in this sense, I think this was probably similar to everybody's, like, we're not really going to end the World Series with a video review, right? Like, dude, we're not going to go into the booth and have the guy come out and say, upon further review, Will Smith was off the plate, game over, the Blue Jays win, and have everybody come streaming out of the dugout and throwing a party. Like, what a terrible way to have the World Series end. And thankfully it didn't go that way. I mean, I guess you'd have to do it because that's the rule, and that's why it's there in the first place, is to make sure that the calls are made correctly. But if they're telling me that Will Smith never came off, okay, fine. I mean, I'll sure. It didn't look like he was on it to me, but I guess that's why I'm not the umpire. But I guess they got it right, and it was meant to be after all.
So they said he did come off, but until after he had already caught the ball. This is part of an article with the Associated Press that the MLB released that report for that article. And I was like, man, and then I have to start watching frame by frame by frame. And it's like, okay, I get it, right? You want to get as many clicks and reads to any article possible. And I'm like, why is MLB even like, going out there and being like, yeah, here's a report. It was actually it wasn't even as close as we thought, because Kiner Falefa was under fire big time the day after the World Series. And it's like, what are you doing with such a short lead at third base? And then it's like, hey, my third base coach literally had a line in the sand for me to not cross. So that's where I was at. And everything is, it was just dissected in a way where it was like, hey, it could have changed the trajectory of baseball even more, because Toronto, they lost and they invested big after losing the World Series. The Dodgers, they won and they invested big to go for the three-peat. What happens if it's the other way around and the umpires say, you know what, his foot was off the bag? And it wasn't a quick review. They took their time, and it was something where they had to get it right. And fortunately, Travis, we're talking about it right now in this situation where it's like the Dodgers are back-to-back World Series champions. The Dodgers are with a chance of getting a three-peat after getting the right call. Could you imagine if they had gotten the call wrong at the Rogers Center, and now we are here saying, hey, he was actually out by 3 feet? It would have been absolute chaos.
They would never do that. I don't understand the point of issuing the report in the first place. I'm with you on that. Look, when you get into the weeds with stuff like this, I lose interest pretty quickly, because it's like, the call was made, they looked at it, they followed the rules of the time, they're going to make the best decision that they can. And, coming back several months later and saying, well, they got it right, I don't know. And I don't think it would have a ton of effect on how the Dodgers operated had they won or lost. I think they were going to do what they were going to do anyway. Maybe it made the Blue Jays act slightly differently. Impossible to tell, considering that it didn't go differently. But it was done right. It was one of the great World Series, another one of those incredible moments inside of an incredible series where, this could be one of the. I remember as a kid growing up, and the 1975 World Series was. I was alive, but I was a little kid. I was 4 years old, so I would just remember seeing Carlton Fisk wave that ball, to keep it fair against the Reds in 75, and not quite understanding what it meant, but constantly seeing it, and everybody telling you this is one of the great World Series of all time. This is the best World Series game ever played, and seeing the image over and well, we just saw a better one. And I think that play is going to come down to it. Of course, Muncy's home run, Rojas's home run, Ohtani's crazy performance in game 3, Will Klein, Enriquez, like Clayton Kershaw's final performance in Major League Baseball. Like, all of these things just are kind of a part of the tapestry of one of the great World Series, if not the greatest World Series ever played. And that play was a big part of it. And coming back, what is it, October, November, December, 6 months after the fact, and saying, oh yeah, okay, like what are we even doing? I don't quite understand it.